to the woman, "Death," the god replied. "O human face, put off mind-painted masks. The animal be, the worm that nature meant. Accept thy futile birth, thy narrow life." But Savitri replied to mighty death, "My heart is wiser than the reason's thought. My heart is stronger than thy bond, O death. It sees and feels the one heartbeat in all. It feels the high transcendent sunlight hands.
Good morning. I'll just start with a little announcement that I'm going to be going out of station for 5 weeks. So starting next week, I won't be here. So we're reading now in Book 10. Yeah, we'll have Shraddhavan. Yeah, I'm sorry, I should say that there will be a video shown here of Shraddhavan, and I think continuing from where we leave off. So we're reading in the book of the double Twilight, and we're in the debate of love and death, Canto 3. We've just gone through Savitri's long colloquy explaining, let's say, Sri Aurobindo's view of existence in reply to Death's long argument that he made in the previous canto. She has emphasized in her explanation that this world is in an unfinished evolution of consciousness, and even though beset by death and suffering and falsehood, still the divine is within it and is gradually awakening, becoming more and more conscious. And as nature awakens, eventually death will be overcome, and all of these difficulties that beset our existence now. And towards the end that we had just finished last time, she was telling about that she and Satyavan have come here to move this evolution forward to the next step and to overcome death. So I'll just read the last passage, the second half of page 633. She says, "O death, not for my heart's sweet poignancy, nor for my happy body's bliss alone, I have claimed from thee the living Satyavan, but for his work and mine, our sacred charge. Our lives are God's messengers beneath the stars. To dwell under death's shadow they have come, tempting God's light to earth for the ignorant race. His love to fill the hollow in men's hearts, his bliss to heal the unhappiness of the world. For I, the woman, am the force of God, he, the eternal's delegate soul in man. My will is greater than thy law, O death. My love is stronger than the bonds of fate. Our love is the heavenly seal of the Supreme. I guard that seal against thy rending hands. Love must not cease to live upon the earth, for love is the bright link twixt earth and heaven. Love is the far transcendence angel here. Love is man's lien on the absolute. So that's where we left off last time. And we'll continue from there, and we can start with Lucy.
But to the woman, death the god replied, with the ironic laughter of his voice, discouraging the labor of the stars. Even so, men cheat the truth with splendid thoughts. Thus wilt thou hire the glorious charlatan mind to weave from his ideal gossamer's air a fine raiment for thy body's nude desires and thy heart's clutching, greedy passion's cloth. Daub not the web of life with magic hues. Make rather thy thought a plain and faithful glass, reflecting matter and mortality, and know thy soul a product of the flesh, a made-up self in a constructed world. Thy words are large murmurs in a mystic dream. For how in the soiled heart of man could dwell the immaculate grandeur of thy dream-built God? Or who can see a face and form divine in the naked two-legged worm thou callest man?
Thank you. Let's pause.
Okay.
In this last part of the canto, there's going to be a give and take between Savitri and death. So we'll see their contrasting views of our existence. And here, he's arguing about Savitri's love, which she has been claiming, and how powerful it is, and how it is the seal of the Supreme on their work. And he's arguing that it's just kind of a product of the flesh, born of the body's desires, and that her mind just weaves these kind of ideals about it, making it seem very beautiful and eternal, but that it's arising from her body, and with her body will also die. It's a made-up, she has a made-up self in a constructed world. The mind, he says, constructs this world that she believes in. It's not real. Thy words are large murmurs in a mystic dream. Sometimes when people are dreaming, they make sounds coming from their dream, speaking in their dream. She says her words, her ideals are like that. And then he says, quite poignantly, how in the soiled heart of man could dwell the immaculate grandeur of thy dream-built God? Or who can see a face and form divine in the naked two-legged worm thou callest man? She's arguing she was going to bring the divine down into humanity. He's saying, how can the divine dwell in this animal? Let's. It means web-like, like a spider web, but very fine and delicate, carries that quality. Yeah, it's like it's not paint exactly, but putting, globs of ointment or paint on something.
It's actually kind of funny. The naked two-legged worm.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, well, that's a bit of a. I have to save that for the proper moment.
Yeah. And Sri Aurobindo can be quite biting in his characterizations of human frailties.
I have also last Thursday I listened to Shraddhavan's class on book 10 and how Sri Aurobindo experienced that the mind is just an illusion. And so that is how then comes to me that death is pointing.
Yeah, that's what he's arguing, that these are just kind of dreams that you have built by the mind. They're constructions of the mind, and they're delicate like these cobwebs, and they can be wiped away very, very quickly. So we continue?
O human face, put off mind-painted masks, the animal bee, the worm that nature meant. Accept thy futile birth, thy narrow life, for truth is bare, like stone, and hard like death. Bare in the bareness, and hard with truth's hardness live. But Satyavan replied to the dire god, yes, I am human, yet shall men by me, since in humanity waits his hour, the god, trample thee down to reach the immortal heights, transcending grief and pain, and fate and death. Yes, my humanity is a mask of God. He dwells in me, the mover of my acts, turning the great wheel of his cosmic work. I am the living body of his light. I am the thinking instrument of his power. I incarnate wisdom in an earthly breast. I am his conquering and unslayable will. The formless spirit drew in me its shape. In me are the nameless and the secret named.
Thank you. Let's pause. Death argues, put off these imaginations, these ideals, accept the reality of your physical life, of your transience, of your limitation, of your coming death. Live in the truth. Don't cover it over with these imaginations. And Savitri replies, because she knows who she is. She knows the divine mother within her and what she has come to do. And it's interesting how she puts it. Yes, I am human, yet shall man by me, through her power, since in humanity waits his hour the God, trample thee down to reach the immortal heights, transcending grief and pain and fate and death. But she will do this for humanity. Yes, my humanity is a mask of God. He dwells in me, the mover of my acts, turning the great wheel of his cosmic work. She's turning these wheels of the cosmos towards their fulfillment. And again, she says, I am the living body of his light. I am the thinking instrument of his power. I incarnate wisdom in an earthly breast. I am his conquering and unslayable will. She's emphasizing how she knows who she is and what she is and what she can do. The formless spirit drew in me its shape. In me are the nameless and the secret name. These kind of two aspects of the divine, the formless and the form, the unknowable and the known universe. In her, these are united. So she is not put off by the appearances of the limitations of life, for she sees within all of that the divine, the nameless. These are just his forms that he wears. Let's continue, Paul.
Death from the incredulous darkness sent its cry, O priestess in imagination's house, persuade first nature's fixed, immutable laws, and make the impossible thy daily work. How canst thou force to wed two eternal foes? Irreconcilable in their embrace, they cancel the glory of their pure extremes. An unhappy wedlock maims their stunted force. How shall thy will make one the true and false? Where matter is all, there spirit is a dream. If all are the spirit, matter is a lie. And who was the liar who forged the universe? The real and the unreal cannot mate. He who would turn to God must leave the world. He who would live in the Spirit must give up life. He who has met the self renounces self. The voyagers of the million routes of mind who have traveled through existence to its end, sages exploring the world ocean's vasts, have found extinction the sole harbor safe. Two only are the doors of man's escape: death of his body, matter's gate to peace, death of his soul, his last felicity. In me all take refuge, for I, death, am God.
Thank you. So death is answering Savitri's argument that she unites spirit and matter, God, within her form, within her body. The formless spirit drew in me its shape. In me are the nameless and the secret name. And he argues that, no, this is a dream. These two things, spirit and matter, are irreconcilable. They cannot be united. They cancel each other. They cannot both be real. So he says, where matter is all, there spirit is a dream. If all are the spirit, matter is a lie. And he's saying only one of these can be true. And this is something that is at the root of the world's present views of our existence. There is the material view, and there is the spiritual view. And the spiritual view also denies the reality of matter and the world, and seeks escape from it into an unknowable or an extinction of itself. So this is the dominant spiritual view of Buddhism, of Advaita Vedanta. Both seek withdrawal from the world and from the body into the unknowable spirit, or extinction into nothingness. So death says, I, death, am the gate for both of these. The death of matter, of the body, brings all comes to me, or if all is spirit, all enters into this unknowable emptiness. That also I am.
To make one, the two, and the false.
Well, that is what she is claiming, that her will can achieve this miracle, this reconciliation. But he's saying, no, that's just impossible. That's a dream. That's your imagination. But again, here he, in a way, shifts his argument, which he does sometimes, because usually he's arguing for the materialistic view. And here he's suggesting, well, even if the spiritual view is correct, that too, I am at the end of that. I am the reality of that. For the end of that path is also the void. So let's continue.
But Savitri replied to mighty death, "My heart is wiser than the reason's thoughts. My heart is stronger than thy bonds, O death. It sees and feels the one heartbeat in all. It feels the high transcendent sun-like hands. It sees the cosmic spirit at its work. In the dim night, it lies alone with God. My heart's strength can carry the grief of the universe and never falter from its luminous track, its wide, tremendous orbit through God's peace. It can drink up the sea of all delight and never lose the wide spiritual touch, the calm that broods in the deep infinite." He said, "Art thou indeed so strong, O heart, O soul so free? And canst thou gather then bright pleasure from my wayside flowering boughs? Yet falter not from thy hard journey's goal, meet the world's dangerous touch and never fall? Show me thy strength and freedom from my laws."
Thank you. Savitri's reply is interesting in how she emphasizes the heart, perhaps the seat of the soul. My heart is wiser than the reason's thoughts. In a way, he's arguing from a kind of rational standpoint. Things either are this or they're that, spirit or matter. They can't be both at the same time. But she says, my heart is wiser than thy reason. It sees and feels the one heart beat in all. This unification of the one and the many, the one divine soul within all the many different beings and things. It feels the high transcendent sun-like hands. We think of the transcendent as overtopping the universe, separate, beyond. But she feels its hands touching, entering into the manifestation, into the world, into life.
It's like this Egyptian representation of some of the
So that may be an image from the Egyptians. And then she says, my heart's strength can carry the grief of the universe and never falter from its luminous track. Within, in the strength of her soul, she can carry all the grief, all the pain and sorrow of others, of life, and not be overborne by it. She can carry that also and continue in her work of bringing the light and the power and the bliss into the world. She's not dissuaded by death and all of the impediments and all of the suffering that besets life. And also, she can drink up the sea of all delight and never lose the white spiritual touch. Also, she is not taken in by even the bliss of heaven, of the divine realms, and all of their delights that they may offer. She also is not deflected from her work by that. Her work to reconcile spirit and matter. Yeah, she's saying she can do that she can remain in her spirit, in her spirit's calm and peace, and face all of the pain and suffering of the world, and also all the bliss and lures of delight.
image or the symbol of death, when we use the word death repeatedly in this. And death is actually not such a bad thing. But what is, the negativity, the darkness, the suffering, the grief, the ways in which humanity can be so depraved and destructive, that is death. To me, that's way more of the issue than, we use the term, sure, Endo uses and calls this entity of this being death. But like in this section where Savitri is saying, my heart can carry the grief of the universe. And to me, the grief of the universe, that is the real suffering. That's the stuff that nobody wants. Like dying, walking through the door and dying, that's happiness. But everything that leads up to it, suffering, pain, betrayal, loss, all of that is the body of death. Much more complicated than dying.
Right. Yeah, compared to all the suffering and pain and falsehood that beset the world, death is maybe not so bad. But Right, and she's also saying, and Sri Aurobindo says in some places, we see that he also is an instrument of the divine, and that also he has his role in the universe. For the forms that are here are still evolving and changing and must be left behind. And that is death. And so that new forms, greater forms, can take their place. So that's kind of walking through the door, through this passage of death into, another phase of life. And that's his deeper reality. But our minds have constructed all of these horrible things, imaginations about death, and looking at it as a terrible thing which we fear. And we'll see later that death will change its appearance, and it will lose that terror that he embodies. And just towards the end of that passage, he makes an interesting reply. Art thou indeed so strong, O heart, O soul, so free? And canst thou gather then bright pleasure from my wayside flowering boughs, yet falter not from thy hard journey's goal? Meet the world's dangerous touch and never fall. And this says something, I think, important about Sri Aurobindo's spiritual path and the difficulty that it entails, because he asks us to live in the world, to face these delights and temptations of the world, and yet not falter, not fall into their grasp, into desire. And he's saying, can you do that? It's not so easy. It's easier to flee from the world. It's easier to sit under a tree, leave the world, go into the forest, enter deep into meditation, leave behind all of the touches of the senses. There enter into the Spirit's vaster reality. But to do that while moving through the world, meeting the opponents, the adversaries around you, and meeting the temptations of life, of pleasure, there can you hold on to that peace, that inner truth? Yeah, it's like if you're walking down a path and you see some beautiful flowers on the side of the path. Will you not be tempted? Let's continue.
But Savitri answered, surely I shall find, among the green and whispering woods of life, close bosomed pleasure only mean shines his, or mean for him because our joy are one. And if I linger, time is our and God's, and if I fail, is not his hand near me? All is single plan, as USI act. Depend the soul response, bring near the goal. Death the contemptuous nil answer her. So probe the absolute force to the wise God by choosing earthly joy for self-demand, and yet from self and its gross marks live free. Then will I give thee all thy soul desire. All the brief joy earth keeps for mortal heart, only the one dearest wise that outweigh all. Hard, low, forbid, and thy ironic fate, my will once wrought remains unchanged thought time, and Satyavan can never again be seen.
Thank you. Let's pause. So Savitri answers Death's arguments. Can you indeed walk through life facing these temptations of desire and not falter, not stray from the path? And she says, surely I will find among the green and whispering woods of life close-bosomed pleasures. But she adds, only mine since his. I will enjoy them, but not for myself alone, but for the divine soul, Satyavan. Or mine for him. I will enjoy, but for him I will enjoy. Because our joys are one. And if I linger, if I take some time to enjoy these pleasures of life, time is ours and God's. And if I fall, is not his hand near mine? She says it's not such a terrible thing. I keep the divine with me, and we can enjoy these pleasures of life, but we are together. I stay with him, the soul, the divine, even in enjoying these pleasures. So if I take my time, it's okay. He's with me. Even if I fall, he is with me. There's no danger. All is a single plan. Each wayside act, again, he brings in this word wayside, like the flowering boughs. All is a single plan. Each wayside act deepens the soul's response, brings nearer the goal. Even if we enjoy these wayside acts, enjoy the pleasures of life, but we do it with remembrance of the divine behind, recognizing that it is the divine within these outer objects that we enjoy, remembering the divine within us. That will deepen the soul's response. How does it deepen? Because it's not limited to some bare transcendent reality. It takes in all of life in its scope. It enjoys the divine in everything, in all the little flowers along the path, along all the different people that we meet. We see the divine in all of them. It deepens our delight, our experience of the divine. It's not limited to some formless infinite. It's expressed in all the infinite variety of life. And he answers contemptuously, with disdain, with looking at her as some kind of fool or idiot. Can you really do this, enjoy all of these things, and not falter from your path, not forget the divine in these forms? So prove it. Choose earthly joy. Return back to earth. Enjoy life. But forget Satyavan. He's not coming with you. My will once made, I have claimed Satyavan's soul, and he stays with me. You can return to the earth. You can return and enjoy all of these pleasures, and if you can, stay true to your soul. But Satyavan can never again be thine. Death has claimed his soul. Let's continue. Brian.
But Savitri replied to the vague power, if the eyes of darkness can look straight at truth, look in my heart, and, knowing what I am, give what thou wilt, or what they must, O death. Nothing I claim but Satyavan alone. There was a hush as if of doubtful fates, as one disdainful still who yields a point. Death bowed his sovereign head in cold assent. I give to thee, saved from death and poignant fate, whatever once the living Satyavan desired in his heart for Savitri. Bright noons I give thee, and unwounded dawns, daughters of thy own shape in heart and mind, fair hero sons and sweetness undisturbed, of union with thy husband, dear and true, and thou shalt harvest in thy joyful house felicity of thy surrounded eaves. Love shall bind by thee many gathered hearts, the opposite sweetness in the days shall meet, of tender service to thy life's desired, and loving empire over all thy loved, two poles of bliss made one, O Savitri. Return, O child, to thy forsaken earth.
Thank you. Let's pause. The Savitri again expresses her formidable will. She says, "Look in my heart, and knowing what I am, give what thou wilt or what thou must, O death. Nothing I claim but Satyavan alone." And then death submits or yields a point. So he gives in something, but not what she wants. He offers her whatever once the living Satyavan desired in his heart for Savitri. So he offers Savitri bright noons and unwounded dawns, daughters and fair hero sons, of union with thy husband, dear and true. So he offers her a full life of happiness and love and children and husband and a joyful house, felicity of thy surrounded eaves. Love shall bind by thee many gathered hearts. The opposite sweetness in thy days shall meet, of tender service to thy life's desired and loving empire over all thy loved. Two poles of bliss made one, O Savitri. So he says, go back to earth, leave Satyavan, leave this realm of death, go and enjoy. And she replies, we'll continue.
But Savitri replied, "Thy gifts resist. Earth cannot flower if lonely I return.
Then death sent forth once more his angry cry, as chides a lion his escaping prey. What knowest thou of earth's rich and changing life, who thinks that one man dead, all joy must cease? Hope not to be unhappy till the end, for grief dies soon in the tired human heart. Soon other guests the empty chambers fill, a transient painting on a holiday's floor, traced for a moment's beauty love was made. Or if a voyager on the eternal trail, its objects fluent change in its embrace, like waves to a swimmer upon infinite seas. But Savitri replied to the vague god, "Give me back Satyavan, my only lord. Thy thoughts are vacant to my soul, that feels the deep, eternal truth in transient things."
Thank you. So Savitri replies, "Thy gifts resist." She's resisting his offer. "Earth cannot flower if lonely I return." She's claiming Satyavan. And then death once more replies angrily, as chides a lion his escaping prey, as a lion reproaches his prey who is escaping. "What knowest thou of earth's rich and changing life, who thinkest that one man dead all joy must cease?" He's saying, you can return, you can enjoy life without Satyavan. Soon others will take his place, don't worry. Hope not to be unhappy till the end, for grief dies soon in the tired human heart. Soon other guests the empty chambers fill. A transient painting on a holiday's floor, traced for a moment's beauty, love was made. It's a beautiful image of love, like a column painted on the floor, meant just for the day. In the morning it can be swept away and a new one put. Or if you're like a voyager on the eternal trail, still its objects fluent change in its embrace, like waves to a swimmer upon infinite seas. So even if you're journeying long, even towards the divine, still the things around you will continually change. It's like a swimmer on the seas, swimming through the waves. They pass. You can continue on your journey, but don't be attached to this wave or that. But Savitri remains firm. Give me back Satyavan, my only Lord. Thy thoughts are vacant to my soul that feels the deep eternal truth in transient things. Again, she feels the abiding truth within all transient things. In her, the spirit and transient matter are one.
You said resist. She resists his offer.
Yes.
Yeah, but when it's the verb or the subject.
Yeah, it's a little strange sentence. It's, you could say, thy gifts I resist, but he leaves out the I, it's understood.
And what are the surrounding needs? Felicity of thy surrounding needs. 576.
I don't have the line numbers.
6 line from top.
Oh, 6 line for. Oh, here. Okay. In the. Yeah, it's just. She will find in her joyful house felicity of thy surrounded eaves.
Like Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve.
Yeah, in the evenings, every evening, in the surrounding evenings, she will find happiness. I don't know. I think that's all it means. It's just short for evenings. So we continue.
Death answered her, return and try thy soul. Soon shalt thou find appeased that other men on lavish earth have beauty, strength, and truth. And when thou hast half forgotten, one of these shall wind himself around thy heart, that needs some human answering heart against thy breast. For who, being mortal, can dwell glad alone? Then Satyavan shall glide into the past, a gentle memory pushed away from thee by new love and thy children's tender hands, till thou shalt wonder if thou lovest at all. Such is the life's earth travail has conceived, a constant stream that never is the same. But Savitri replied to mighty death, O dark, ironic critic of God's work, thou mockst the mind and body's faltering search for what the heart holds in a prophet hour, and the immortal spirit shall make its own. Mine is a heart that worshipped, though forsaken, the image of the God its love adored. I have burned in flame to travel in his steps.
Thank you. Let's pause. So Savitri had been insisting only Satyavan. He is my Lord. He is my soul's counterpart. Only him I want. And death is saying, go back to the world. You'll see very soon his memory will fade. There are other wonderful, beautiful, powerful, strong men who will come. And you can enjoy, you will enjoy them, you will enjoy your children, and Satyavan will fade in your memory. Such is the life earth's travail has conceived. It's what it has worked out. A constant stream that never is the same. And then she replies again, O dark, ironic critic of God's work, thou mockest the mind and body's faltering search for what the heart holds in a prophet hour, and the immortal spirit shall make its own. He's mocking at all of these, searching for eternal truths and values and loves. And she says, you're mocking at something that we will have. And then she says, mine is a heart that worshipped, and though forsaken by his death, the image of the God its love adored, I have burned in flame to travel in his steps. She has gone down into the depths of death's realm, into the inconscient, followed him into hell to reclaim him. It's not just a kind of a petty attraction she has for him. She's gone far into the depths of death to reclaim him. And I think one more we can read. Wait, just one second.
Where is it? Are we not?
Yes.
Are we not they who bore vast solitude, seated upon the hills, alone with God? Why dost thou vainly strive with me, O death, a mind delivered from all twilight thoughts, to whom the secrets of the gods are plain? For now at last I know beyond all doubt the great stars burn with my unceasing fire, and life and death are both its fuel made. Life only was my blind attempt to love. Earth saw me struggle, heaven my victory. All shall be seized, transcendent. There shall kiss, casting their veils before the marriage fire, the eternal bridegroom and eternal bride. The heavens accept our broken flights at last. On our life's prow that breaks the waves of time, no signal light of hope has gleamed in vain. She spoke. The boundless members of the god, as if by secret ecstasy assailed,
shuddered in silence, as obscurely stir ocean's dim fields delivered to the moon. Then lifted up, as by a sudden wind, around her in that vague and glimmering world, the twilight trembled like a bursting veil.
Thank you. Let's pause. So Savitri again argues, why do you vainly fight with me? I who know the divine mother within me, I know who I am. I know I'm the force of God. A mind delivered from all twilight thoughts, to whom the secrets of the gods are plain. She's aware of who she is. For now, at last, I know beyond all doubt, the great stars burn with my unceasing fire, and life and death are both its fuel made. She uses both life and death as fuel for her fire, her will, her movement towards the fulfillment of God. And then there's this interesting sentence, life only was my blind attempt to love. Earth saw my struggle, heaven my victory. All shall be seized, transcended. There shall kiss, casting their veils before the marriage fire, the eternal bridegroom and eternal bride. It makes me think, don't know if it's intended or not, but of Sri Aurobindo and the mother, and we saw her struggle, the mother's struggle here. And then also she left her body. Heaven will see her victory. And then it just makes me think of, the future, or something of when this divine life is finally established here, on earth that will see her victory. And then all shall be seized, all taken up, transcended. There shall kiss, casting their veils before the marriage fire, the eternal bridegroom and eternal bride. The union of the Lord and his Shakti, the union of the divine and nature here shall be fulfilled. The heavens accept our broken flights at last. Even their work, their journey appears interrupted by their physical death. But at last, we will see the fulfillment of their work. And our life's prow that breaks the waves of time, no signal light of hope has gleamed in vain. In their movement, journey towards the eternal truth, the divine fulfillment, also our journey, no light of hope has gleamed in vain. All of these hopes, our ideals, their pronouncements, all of these things have not been in vain. They will be fulfilled. And as she spoke, the members of the god, that is death, as if by a secret ecstasy assailed, shuddered in silence, as obscurely stir ocean's dim fields delivered to the moon. And then lifted up as by a sudden wind around her in that vague and glimmering world, the twilight trembled like a bursting veil. We're still in that twilight of the ideal where all is kind of shimmering but evanescent, changing, fleeting. That glimmering world was trembling like a bursting veil. It's about to burst into something new. So, I'm thinking, since I'm going to be going away, maybe I'll just read this last portion of the passage. Their dialogue has concluded, and now the narrator steps in just to conclude. Thus with armed speech the great opponents strove. Around those spirits in the glittering mist, a deepening half-light fled with pearly wings, as if to reach some far ideal morn. Outlined her thoughts flew through the gleaming haze, mingling bright pinioned with its lights and veils, and all her words like dazzling jewels were caught into the glow of a mysterious world, or tricked in the rainbow shifting of its hues, like echoes swam fainting into far sound. All utterance, all mood must there become an unenduring tissue sewn by mind to make a gossamer robe of beautiful change. Intent upon her silent will, she walked on the dim grass of vague, unreal plains, a floating veil of visions in her front, a trailing robe of dreams behind her feet. But now her spirit's flame of conscient force, retiring from a sweetness without fruit, called back her thoughts from speech to sit within in a deep room in meditation's house. For only there could dwell the soul's firm truth, imperishable, a tongue of sacrifice. It flamed unquenched upon the central hearth where burns for the high house lord and his mate the homestead's sentinel and witness fire, from which the altars of the gods are lit. All still compelled went gliding on unchanged. Still was the order of these worlds reversed. The mortal led, the God in spirit obeyed, and she behind was leader of their march, and they in front were followers of her will. Onwards they journeyed through the drifting ways, vaguely companioned by the glimmering mists. But faster now all fled, as if perturbed, escaping from the clearness of her soul. A heaven bird upon jeweled wings of wind, borne like a colored and embosomed fire, by spirits carried in a pearl-hued cave, on through the enchanted dimness moved her soul. Death walked in front of her, and Satyavan in the dark front of death, a failing star. Above was the unseen balance of his fate. End of Canto 3.
Death once more sent forth his angry cry. What knowest thou of earth's fate and changing light? Who thinks that one man did all toil see? The Savitri replied to the vague God, give me back Bhavan, my only lord. Thy thoughts are vacant to my soul that feels the eternal truth in transient sin. Thus, when the arms speak the name of God's soul.
Thanks to Sri Aurobindo. Again, I'll be out